Good afternoon to all our esteemed guests and panelists as we launch the very first series of Women in the Arts Dialogue in celebration of the Women's Month. We are very, very excited to have all of you today, and thank you again for joining us. As we celebrate Women's Day this year, it would be very amiss of me not to recognize that for the very first time in the National Arts Council's history, the council chairperson, the acting chief executive officer, the chief executive officer, all executive leadership in the organization are actually all women. And this is really, really very interesting. It's a very interesting time for the NAC because literally as from the 1st of January, this is how, we kind of rolled out. But whilst this is something that we are, celebrating, we cannot be ignorant to the challenges in front of us that also need to be addressed in ensuring that more women are inspired, courageous, and bold enough to be leaders in the arts. Our theme this year of Roadmap to Success comes at a time when the arts have been one of the hardest hit industries. Many of you, whilst in the middle of building your careers in the arts, have faced indescribable hardships, challenges, and possibly have attempted to even change careers over the last 18 months. COVID has truly just taken away so much from our livelihoods and also further brought to light other very serious issues that women are dealing with, such as gender-based violence. I mean, we've seen the staggering and disturbing figures over the last couple of months. We've also trying to figure out how do we balance family and work life, and then another major issue again is just the plight of disabled women in the arts as well, which is never really spoken much about. But our hope is that these dialogues that we're going to be hosting over the next 3 sessions will bring about stories of hope and reasons why we need to reinvent ourselves to a new normal while staying true to the artistic nature of our career paths. The NAC, being led by women, wishes to place itself at the center of being an example of an institution that is empathetic, that cares, and that is committed towards the holistic advancement of women. My request is that you learn from these conversations and continue to pay it forward whilst sharing what you have learned to address some of these challenges and, of course, how to sustain a career in the arts during these difficult times. Zanele, our MC, I'd like to hand over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Her Royal Highness, and thank you to the NAC for putting this fantastic roadmap to success together. Today, it's very much needed, and I'm deeply excited to also chat to this formidable group of women today from various sectors of the industry. So before I start, let me introduce myself very quickly. In a nutshell, I am an art editor, a features editor. I have been a bureau chief and editor for various magazines and glossies that include Business Day Wanted, Elle, Marie Claire, Condé Nast Traveler, and a few. But my deepest passion has always been throughout women empowerment. So this gives me, makes my heart sing to be able to do this today. And hopefully at the end of the session, we're going to really have a lot to share with women in the sector. And without further ado, I'm gonna start in alphabetical order with Asanda Sizani, who is recognized as a creative visionary and influential figure in the fashion community. She served as the former editor-in-chief of Glamour South Africa, the fashion and beauty director of Glamour South Africa, the fashion and beauty director of Elle magazine, and copywriter and fashion editor for Woolworths, and made history as the first Black editor of the Glamour magazine brands worldwide. Which is phenomenal. Additionally, Asanda is a skilled stylist who has styled the likes of Solange Knowles and Simpiwe Dana. She has also served as curator for Design Indaba while playing a mentorship role to several young creatives. Recently, also during the pandemic, she was busy and founded Black Editors, a platform for South African editorial heads to empower the next generation of journalists, very much in line with what we're doing today. In 2021, this year, Asanda co-curated the Fashion Yearbook 2021 alongside Global Vogue art editors, directors, and renowned creatives. And yeah, it's really interesting to know that she's currently the creative director of a 2021 Netflix project, which hopefully she'll share a little about later. Asanda is the recipient of the Media and Advertising Award at the Standard Bank Rising Star Awards. So a big welcome to Asanda today. And then on to the next, Boitumelo Tsupa has a huge love for dance, which started at a young age when she was discovered by Jerry Zwane. In high school, she was part of a community group called Tuxedo Arts Production. Boitumelo has performed in festivals and theaters, including the European competition, Dance Star in Croatia. She has performed in the Grahamstown Arts Festival alongside Gomazi Mashinini and has toured in shows choreographed by Gregory Magoma, Buru Mohlabane, and Jerry Zwane. Boitumelo has choreographed the portraits of Kwatsa Duza, a show which was produced and directed by Nathi Msomi. Additionally, she won the Stampo Stomp Amapantsula competition for her performance in the telenovela The Road. Boitumelo owns a company called Mazibuye Emasisweni Recreation Arts Projects, which has been funded by the NSC. She previously worked as a facilitator with students with disabilities at Young People Emerge. So a huge and warm welcome to her as well. Next, we have Louise van der Bijl, who completed a BA Fine Arts degree at Wits University. And recently, she moved from Joburg to The Hague in Netherlands, where she joins us today. Memory Game was her first solo exhibition, which was held at Ituba Arts Gallery in Braamfontein in 2014. She's exhibited in a number of group exhibitions, including but not limited to Hello New Beginnings, Joburg, Degrees of Separation, and Diptych. Louise worked as a gallery manager of Brody Stevenson from 2008 until 2010. And in 2010, she co-founded a nonprofit and collaborative artists organization, Assemblage, which sought to assist artists in Johannesburg, encouraging collaboration, sharing, and creating. She ran Assemblage and its various iterations until its closure in 2019. So also a huge welcome to Louise. And last but not least, theatre lover Ndabiseng Malaka holds a BA Honours degree in Dramatic Arts from Wits University. Currently, Ndabiseng freelances as a production designer and stage manager for theatre productions, as well as production designer for film and TV. Yeah, we see her sitting in her office today, busy. In 2015, she was a production designer for her first international film, which made an appearance in the 2018 Durban International Film Festival. In 2018, Ndabiseng was nominated in the Naledi Theatre Awards for costume design, and in 2019 for Best Set Design. Since her return from Hong Kong, she has been designing for a multitude of reputable theatre productions and continues to work with giants in the theatre industry. Ndabiseng has worked in artistic spaces such as the Market Theatre, Joburg Theatre, Soweto Theatre, and Centre for the Less Good Idea. Outside of the arts, Ndabiseng has an incredible interest for, believe it or not, bananas. And as a result, she's on a quest to collect anything with bananas on it. So you'll definitely have to tell us more about that during the session. So welcome everyone. If you would just switch your mics on so we can start. And yeah, I think maybe what I'd like to ask is quite a broad question that can help lead us into what's coming. And I won't call out any names for now. I think whoever would like to pick up the question is more than welcome. So I'd like to take a look at some of the pre-COVID gains and shortcomings that we've experienced in the workplace, and just take a look at what kind of progress we've made since the start of the pandemic. So if anyone has anything to share, I would appreciate that. Can I hand over then specifically to Asanda, just to maybe, because you've got a lot of projects on the go, I think, you'd be best to kind of answer that question.
All right. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for this incredible platform. It's an incredible honor to be gathered here and to have this experience. So pre-COVID for me was all about me phasing myself out of a 10-year career in magazine publishing. I resigned from my position as an editor-in-chief of Glamour magazine in December 2019. So there was this grand plan of launching my own agency, doing the entrepreneurial thing. I'd lined up a few travel opportunities. I had some master classes lined up in Ethiopia. There was a lot for the next couple of months at least, and also I'd invested in a startup fashion brand. So I had a lot on my plate that was planned, and then the big disruptor came, and I was actually in the middle. It was in March, early March, in 2020. I was doing some master classes in Addis at the time, so that was a big shock. And then I think the encouraging thing about it was the fact that all of us were going through this together. Just the abrupt halt to so many people's plans, a lot of loss of income, loss of opportunity, loss of life. All of us we're trying to absorb exactly what is happening, and it was happening to all of us worldwide. So it definitely took a moment for me to adjust to what was happening, but then it also gave me time, and it opened up a lot more other opportunities gradually, that still allowed me to continue creating, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to transfer skills, because I felt, okay, there's a lot that I've gained in my years in editorial, in content creation, in the fashion space. I want to actually give a lot more of that knowledge. So now it actually, COVID wasn't the end for me, to be honest. It did definitely take a lot of time psychologically to work through a lot. But I'm just so thankful that virtually we're still able to continue to do virtual events and do knowledge sharing platforms such as this. And I'm so grateful as well that I was able to launch Black Editors, which is one of the many platforms that I was able to get into, because I felt it's important for us to archive our stories and our history in publishing, in South African publishing. And that's been very encouraging for me also, to be able to content and to create.
And just practically, how long did you pause for before you felt ready to, make the next moves?
I would say a good month or more than a month and a half. Okay. I actually booked a one-way flight home to the Eastern Cape. Because for me, I just felt that if this is happening and the uncertainty of it all, it really affected me. I thought I might as well do it at home, where there's family, where there's love to nurture me, there's support there, and I'm also able to just draw a lot of that inspiring energy that I so needed at the same time, and to also be there physically for my family, to be hands-on and to be available for them. So it was about a month and a half, but while I was there, I think it was important for me to also just to keep going, even on the day when I didn't feel like writing, I didn't feel like working. I didn't feel like doing anything, but I thought, okay, well, let me at least put up a content piece out there. Let me do something. Let me pick up the phone and chat to fellow creatives and fellow writers, fellow content people, other people that are also going through this, and just to absorb some of their energy as well. So it was pause, but at the same time, there were moments where I had to force myself to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting, because you flew home, and then Louise, it seemed like you decided to leave home. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you what that was like, what that's been like.
I can actually relate a lot to what Asanda has just said. I mean, I also went through quite a transition in 2019. I mean, I've been running Assemblage for almost 10 years, and we've made a decision to shut it down for various reasons. And we were towards the end of 2019 wrapping it up, and I was kind of going, what next? And my husband's a Dutch citizen, he's South African Dutch, so we were like playing with this idea of coming here for a while just to see what it's like, but not really like I had to do like Dutch exams, and I was freaking out, and you know, so I wasn't sure what was next. I wanted to focus back on my own stuff. I'd been doing the opposite of this, a lot of mentorship and skills transfer for a long time, but I'd also been having children, and I just wanted to come back to me a bit. And then the pandemic hit, and the same as you, like complete spanner in the works, right? All plans put on hold. I suppose I'm grateful we hadn't quite decided exactly what our move plans were yet. So my husband actually was about to get on a flight at the end of February, and for some reason he didn't do it, thank goodness, because he would have been stuck. So we were all at home, the kids' schools closed, the kids were thrilled to be at home full time. They're little, so they were just like, yeah, that's the best thing ever. I'm grateful they were little, because I wasn't dealing with a lot of homework and stuff, but we did have quite a lot of Zoom calls, but I actually found it a very productive time most of last year, just being in one space, and I developed a routine of painting every day with my kids around. I have dealers who are buying my work, and so I was, one of just putting on the post and pre-COVID gains and shortfalls or whatever. I think technology has been amazing. It's just, I mean, I think of how my buyers have been buying my stuff. It's all digital. And there was a time when that wouldn't have been possible in the visual arts industry at all. Certainly budgets have been cut, and not having physical exhibitions is very difficult, but technology has just been incredible. But now, having actually made this move, as there was a lull in the pandemic, we got our act together, it has been very unsettling. So I'm a bit all over the show still, trying to work out. It's weird, like I should be like, yeah, new space, new adventures, there's so many things I could do. But with the pandemic still kind of hovering, and no one knows exactly what's going, like you're not sure how much to plan and where to go, but there is a lot you can do still. And just recognizing those positives post-pandemic, I think is really important. But also, I'm starting to feel like we also can kind of fight back for that which we lost. Like I'm seeing it in South Africa, I'm seeing it here. Like galleries are putting shows up. They're saying these lockdowns and this pressure on us. We can't keep not putting up what's being created.
Not creating.
We have to figure out a way to do it. Despite all of these rules being thrown at us, I suppose.
Very true. And Dabi Singh, for you, it feels like perhaps it may have been the hardest, maybe because you have to be in a physical space. Can you chat through some of your challenges and wherever you've seen progress being made?
Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on this platform. It has been difficult, I think, firstly, because theatre is about a coming together and being live and rehearsing and touching each other, building stuff. So it was very difficult to sort of like think, how are we going to do this Zoom thing, the play on Zoom? How are we rehearsing? Am I gonna be needed to make a design, a set? How am I gonna do that? For most of it, like during the first lockdown, I thought, it's over for me. And I sat for a very long time without work, until there was like a start of Market Theatre. Market Theatre, there was like one-handers that they did. So it was very like controlled, would have one performer, one designer, one state, like one, and try make that. And that was recorded and then live streamed, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, so it was very, very challenging. As a freelancer, I mean, I've always been used to, I'm working this month, maybe next month I'm not. And I've sort of like gotten used to, okay, I need to save up at least for the next few months or whatever. But when lockdown hit, it became a stop, you know, and you didn't know where's the next gig coming from? Is there going to be a next gig? And when the levels sort of like started coming down, there'd be a start of something, and then things change, or someone gets infected, and then we have to go back again, and then that play is not happening anymore. It was really frustrating. But I think the opportunity to have works online has been very helpful. One thing we also did as well, at the Center for the Less Good Idea, there were pieces that were in process of doing in March last year. And so those were recorded and then live streamed, and they were recorded in the theater. It's not the same, but it helped somewhat.
And have you noticed any kind of opportunities that have come from kind of changing from in real life settings to going digital and virtual? Have any maybe new careers popped up or exciting?
I'd say, firstly, for me, I think it's a good thing that I know how to do different things, and work in different spaces. And it's been sort of like a adapt or die situation. So in the film side and the TV side, beginning of the year, there has been work. In the theater, it's only now that we're sort of like trying to have some plays.
And would you say then that's like really good advice to share for people who are upcoming or coming up in the ranks, that maybe you should have a few options that you're juggling? Because it sounds like most people in the panel have a lot of things on the go at the same time.
It's been helpful to be able to do different things. It's useful because I don't know how I was gonna be a production designer for a stage without being there. You know, because it's such a long process that happens physically, seeing the rehearsal. Oh, okay, I need to change this on the model. Maybe a table won't work here because they move like this and they enter like that. So those kind of things, like, you need to look at and then see what else can you do besides that one thing, because this digital life has like caught us off guard.
Yeah, totally. We had to adapt very quickly. And for you, Boitumelo?
Yes. For me, for performance, I think it was a lot. It affected us a lot, because the only way we could work is on stage. It's scoring room. So when people are working from home, we couldn't work from home. Our only home is on stage. Do you understand? So it really affected us a lot. But I don't know if I can say it was lucky for me, because I then got a job to work as a facilitator. So the people, I could sense, I could imagine what they were going through, because as an artist, we only get paid by gigs.
Yeah.
You understand? So it really affected us a lot. It's still affecting us, because now we have to, even if we get a gig, only maybe 5 people or 10 people are allowed. We have to cut numbers. So it's still a struggle for us as performers and artists.
No, completely. It has been a difficult time. And so what would you tell people? I know you know, arts and culture sometimes is one of the first things that brands and clients, you know, want to throw out when the tough times get going. So yeah, I'd love to know if you've had to pitch anything to brands, and what you say to them to say, hang on, this is one of the most important, if not, you know, the most important industries to keep alive. Asanda, yeah, perhaps because you pitch a lot of projects, maybe you can touch on this.
Well, the arts are hugely important to keep alive and to fund. It's the industry that's actually kept us going in this time. It's energized us, it's inspired us, it's kept us alive, really. I remember even from right at the beginning of lockdown, watching, you know, online concerts that people were putting together, people like Mandy Sikyanki's, with his online series of concerts and conversation series, or you know, even just the DJs doing the lockdown parties, you know. Yeah. So that's always just been invigorating, really. And it's so important to have all of these different platforms, you know, to have support also from the public and also people that can fund these different artists, especially now in this time. It's important for the artists, the creators, but also for the public as well, to be able to still access and consume their work. Well, one of the projects I've been involved in, it was pitched to me, but through the project, I was able to also pitch other people to get on board. But it was an online series of visuals and also just audiovisual content through Netflix. It was the Netflix project. We actually started working on it in March of this year, and we released it in June. The first part of it was released in June. And that was also such an incredible creative project, but at the same time, it had a lot of substance in that it was us having an opportunity to dig through the archives, the publishing archives, and look at all the great moments in South African entertainment history. So everything from your Brenda Fassie moment at her wedding, or Thembi Nyandengi's performance on Amambondo on stage, etc. So we could actually go through history, and we actually made it a point that we want to recreate and reimagine those moments. So that was a fantastic creative project to also be a part of. And it actually puts so many different artists on people's radar, and it was hugely inspiring for us to also have an opportunity to work on. So I think it's important for the arts to be supported by various stakeholders at the same time, because it also allows the publics to still get that information, even now, even with all these restrictions.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
I realized what you were saying was the 40 years celebration that you did in collaboration with, was it the Sowetan newspaper? Okay, fantastic. Do you mind just taking us through how that happened in terms of it being pitched to you, just to help someone in our audience who might not understand how these processes work?
Okay, well, firstly, one of the tips that I could give to young creatives, well, creatives in general, is that don't wait for an opportunity to come to you. Don't just fold your arms and hope someone's going to come knocking, or someone's going to email you, someone's going to call you. Even in that time, this past year and over these past couple of months, it helped that I was putting out content. So the Black Editors content, where we essentially celebrate the legends, you know, in publishing history, it actually put me on Netflix's radar. So they actually saw the content that I was putting out and how consistent I've always been in telling stories, in uncovering awesome people that are pioneers in their respective fields, And they actually had this idea in mind. So how it happened is it was during one of those moments when I was back home in the Eastern Cape, writing and finding myself. I get a call from Netflix, and they pitched this project. And basically, Sowetan turned 40 this year. And they were marking their 40th anniversary. So to honor Sowetan and all the stories and legends that have appeared on their paper, Netflix wanted to actually bring those stories to life in another platform. So we paged through the archives. We looked through Sowetan's archives. We found these great moments in South African entertainment history. We curated the best moments that range from theater to the arts to television to beauty queens to red carpet moments to iconic events, iconic album launches, just some great pop culture moments in South African history. And we then used the cast of Netflix productions to be the models and to bring those stories back to life through photography and through audiovisual content. So that's what the project was essentially, and I was creative director for that project.
There's a beautiful comment here saying, I was glued to Black editors from Luleka. One thing I loved about it was that each one was such an easy read.
Thank you. I think it was important for, I'm used to, magazines, those long articles, you take time to really write those articles and it's well researched. But now you also need that content that's, bitsy and gets right to the point and it's brief and it's easy to digest. So with Black editors, it's a combination of Instagram posts where it's just the caption of who this person is, what is their story, how do they impact the publishing industry, what do we need to know about this person. But we also did a series of IG Live interviews with the new generation of editors. And they had an opportunity to share their story, but to also share some tips and advice to aspiring journalists, writers, content producers.
Oh, fabulous. I love this idea of archiving as well. And I wondered, with Louise or Ndabiseng or Boitumelo, has that been a large part of your process during the pandemic? Have you been doing a lot of looking back, or are you more focused on what's ahead and more kind of a futurist approach?
Okay, I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
Just briefly, I suppose. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time reflecting it. I think the times called for it.
Yeah.
But now it's definitely like moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Just on that sponsors thing, I haven't had to pitch to anyone recently, but I did have one of my dealers cut budgets last year, and I felt very much I was within my transition space, moving, able to step away and say, it's okay, I don't need to be one of your artists to buy from anymore because it wasn't practical not being in South Africa anymore. But so a lot of artists affected by that cut. But that said, with Assemblage, we started some programs with various big corporates and funders, and interestingly, those are still going on even today. They've just been completing. So those funders have not let go of those projects. They've manifested them into new variations and iterations with some of the people we were working with. Even despite the pandemic, I think they have seen the value of supporting and continuing to support the arts. Look, we were doing a lot of mentorship, and mentorship is obviously very important and a big thing at the moment, but it's encouraging to see that even if they have cut their budget somewhat, they've tried everything they can to keep moving forward. But yeah, this thing of looking backwards and learning from it is, I think, very important. Something I've been doing a lot of and have over the years. I think it is the only way you grow.
Yeah. And for Boitumelo and Ndabiseng, with archiving or reflection of the past?
I think the only is to look forward and go forward. And I think luckily we got funded by the NAC. There was a project that I was doing, and the NAC helped me a lot, digital migration, where we were able to help others on doing shows, and then you record, and then people could watch it. The only way we could do is what, you understand? Because looking back, it won't help people.
Okay, sorry, I lost you for a second there. But yeah, if you can just repeat the last two thoughts that you shared.
Is that we
should
that you
had gotten funding through the NAC?
Yes, we should just apply for funding, because you guys really helped us a lot. And there are so many people can help, especially the arts industry. So if you can just apply, and then everything will, and just look forward. There's no other way.
Let's touch on that, because I think that's a very interesting point in terms of funding. I know a lot of, I've just gotten a question here as well from the audience to ask, how do you go about applying for funding, and what kind of advice would you give to a creative in terms of becoming more employable in this process? Do you have any tips and advice for them?
I think the first tip is that when you apply for funding, make sure that what you write there, you guys you can also understand, because most people make a mistake of just writing whatever, and it gets rejected so easily. So if you can get someone who will help you and write what is it that you want, not just anything that you feel like you can do. And when you get funding, is that for you to use it with those people, not just for your own sake. You understand? Because people struggle a lot, you get funding and then they use it for their own things, and not for their community, for their projects or their community groups or whatever. So when you get funding, just use it wisely. And I think there's no better thing than that.
Fantastic. And for you, Ndabi Singh, for you to offer advice in terms of how to apply successfully for funding, I think.
So for me, the conversation of funding is a slightly awkward one, because so most of the time I work as a production designer, and like a play will be brought forth, and then I'll go through that and then design for it. It's never a process where it starts, I design and then take it to the theater and I'm like, guys, make a play. So it's difficult in that way. I sort of like wait to be called to come design a piece. So I've never applied for funding and created like a piece that needed funding in that regard. And then also to touch on the topic of archiving, I think in the theater space, there needs to be more archiving. In the past, the pieces that have been done, it's in the ones that I've worked on, it's only a few that I've seen on an evening. There's a person coming in with a camera and recording the play. It's mostly just photographic, you know, and I think it is important to do that so that when we are in these times, those things can be live streamed and maybe we can go back on them.
Definitely. And then just in terms of you being a freelancer, then you were saying that you have to, in a way, advertise your wares so people notice what you're up to. Can you talk a little bit more about that in terms of being more employable?
So I mean, I don't think I'm on social media, and I share my processes sometimes, whether I'm building a model or I'm rehearsing or I'm just in rehearsal. I share those things, and then I share images once I've created work, like this is the play I've done, go check it out, or I'm working on a film set, it's coming soon, but sometimes film you can't really share. Like all the jobs I've done since I've graduated, I graduated in 2016. All the jobs I've done, I've never applied for. It's always been, hey, Ntabi, someone said you do this. Oh, Ntabi, I saw you did it. Hey, Ntabi, you know, so you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah,
a lot of word of mouth. So you have to put yourself out there in social media. Yeah.
So socially, so do you work also then on a lot of projects which don't have funders or necessarily a final end product to go to? Do you play around with a lot of things? Do you have time to do those kind of passion projects, or do you have to focus on bread and butter kind of projects?
Honestly, it's mostly bread and butter. And if it's a pro bono kind of thing, I do sort of like assist. You can find this wherever. Come tell me what your idea is. Let's talk through this, and I've advised a lot of people who didn't have a budget. And I'm like, okay, maybe you won't afford doing this. Maybe this is the thing that you need to do. So I've been involved only in that way.
Okay. And then just because we are where we are in the world, and we're still fighting the good fight for gender equality, can we talk maybe about how we can give a leg up and support women in our various industries, or maybe chat about personal stories or anecdotes where a woman has helped you in your career? I'll give that one to Asanda as well.
Gosh, I've had so many women give me a leg up in the industry, and it's ongoing. It's something that I'm always grateful for, and I have no choice but to do the same for the next woman. There's so many times when a person will come to you and approach you for an opportunity, or they'll recommend you for something, a lot of times without you even knowing about it. But sometimes, they recommend you for things, and, when you find out about it, it's just this deeply, I'm just always grateful for those opportunities. So I think whatever platform you have, whatever next project, whatever job, whatever, even sometimes we have to turn down certain opportunities that come to us. I think the first preference should be a woman. The first person that you recommend should be a woman for any opportunity. And sometimes you turn down an opportunity not because you don't want to do it, but it can be a number of different things, whether it's timing, whether it's capacity, anything. But it's important to always have a roster of women on standby that you always just put forward, but always women that are capable, that are excellent, that can deliver. People must know that whoever you're putting forward are people that are at the top of their game at the same time. But I think we should definitely champion each other and help each other out whenever possible, because it's constantly happening for us as well.
Yeah. And for you, Louise, especially in a very male-dominated industry, visual arts?
Sure. As Assemblage, we actually did extensive research over the years, and we did a huge research project almost 10 years ago, as well as the Human Science Research Council. And one of the things that came out of it was this non-representation of women in the visual arts, and particularly of Black women. And so as Assemblage, it was something we were really trying to grapple with, and found it really hard in the visual arts, as it is it's a weird space. If you look at the visual arts degree at a university, almost all the graduates coming out of those programs are females, mostly white females, and yet the galleries mostly are male run and represent male artists of both races. And Black females almost not on the radar at all. Encouragingly, over the last few years, I've started to see a shift in that, which is really exciting. And what I've seen, particularly over this post-COVID period, is as social media has become sort of a more dominant player in the game, it's kind of, maybe I should say, balanced or even the playing field for visual artists, where they don't have to rely completely on the gallery, a male-dominated gallery, presenting you. There's an increasing number of young particularly Black female artists I'm seeing who are got amazing like Instagram presence or like just really putting themselves out there in really great ways. They're getting support, getting studios, and that's really encouraging. So like, I mean, yeah, I'm in this new space. I'm not really sure, but I think it'll always be something that I'll be looking towards. Like, how do you, particularly with arts, promote more female artists overall? But within the South African context, those young Black female artists, they need so much support.
Yeah.
I really think that. And there's some really amazing young visual artists coming out. But it's the question of then how do they get into those mainstream galleries, onto the art fairs, because that's where you start getting money and you need money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just briefly on the question of funding, I did a lot of projects which needed funding over the years. And one of the weaknesses I've seen with artists is they get this idea that there's some funder, particularly maybe a government body, that's going to give them all the money they need.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually like so many other models you can use. There's like partial funding you could do where you get a little bit, like corporates are amazing for getting funding. And like we have sponsorship from Primi Piatti Pizza for years. I mean, like, bizarre, what's a pizza?
But then, so how do you approach a Primi Piatti, and how do you
the two interviews point is the networking thing. You gotta like get back and talk to people. So my business partner particularly, I mean, we're both doing it, she's really good at talking to all sorts of entities. She had another project that Primi got interested in, and she leveraged that into and what we were doing is events. So this is the weakness now with COVID, is to present an event, because that was a big like you can do an event and there'll be all these people and like, but like you can pivot into an online space to create something. It is challenging and different. And there's also entities like BASA, Business and Art South Africa, who you can use to leverage corporate sponsorships. We did quite a few projects where we got like a supporting grant from BASA, which would be a tiny amount of money, but then you can use that for another project, which is in collaboration with a corporate partner. And the corporate partner doesn't have to give you money. They can just give you stuff, but that value will mean an
association.
Exactly. And you can use those little bits all together. And then there's also international bodies, which I think people don't always look at either, who are interested in sub-Saharan Africa. But I really think that artists need to be thinking more business-wise, thinking how do I put this. I know it's not, you want to be able to do the passion projects, but how do you create a company or a business that makes money? But yeah, so I'm going all over the show.
No, this is amazing. I'm like jotting down notes, and I think, a lot of our audience are jotting down these notes as well. So
yes, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot you can do if you are willing to just not get stuck into the same boxes that everyone's stuck in.
And not go for the same funders, same brands, clients. Yeah.
I mean, there's been some really weird funders I've worked with over the year. If you look at, but it's also understanding what people have to offer. So, like one of the things I've done quite successfully in the past is finding spaces to use for free. And often it's about going to a landlord. Like literally, I would phone. You go around town and you see to let signs on buildings. And I would phone those phone numbers, and I'd be like, "Hello, I see a building. It looks interesting."
That's impressive, yeah.
And it could have worked more than once. I've been able to stage exhibitions and events around empty spaces, just sitting empty, and the landlord has given it to me for free, because I've been able to do something interesting with it. And I think there's going to be a huge opportunity with that kind of thing coming with post-COVID, because of businesses collapsing and spaces becoming empty, that's like amazing opportunity for visual artists, and I think dancers and theatre practitioners too, even music. Like that's venues, free venues everywhere. That's studio spaces. That's like places where you can meet an audience on the street, and you're just going to be brave enough to go and talk to whoever owns the space. And often they'll let you use it for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like. I think across the board, where all of you have succeeded is that you've taken the initiative, and that cliche of thinking out the box, has been really amazing. I am looking up at the time, and I realize we only have a couple of minutes left. And I wanted to take a few questions, some of which have already come through, and there is also a comment. So again, with to Asanda, I had the opportunity to follow the Netflix digital collaboration with Sowetan for the 40th. Content creativity delivery was amazing, from wardrobe, photography, makeup, etc. It was a huge honor to have my sisters, Jackie Mofokeng, Miss South Africa 1993 photo recreated with Candice Modesele. Asanda and team did a sterling job. So that's a lovely note for you from Tlaleng. And then we have a very poignant question from two. And unfortunately, not everybody gets funding even after applications, but we keep going somehow for the sake of sanity and community empowerment and development. Personally, as an artist, I was moved to donate my house for use by the community for the arts, artist residency, and GBV challenges, which is what you were talking about, Louise. My question is it possible for funding bodies like the NAC to find ways to look closely at the efforts that are already happening on the ground, run by people who didn't get funding, and try to assist and even find out where they need funding in order to grow and spread what is already happening? So I had a sort of side chat, love the function of the Zoom, with NAC, and yeah, so their proposal is that they've opened an annual funding stream, and they encourage all artists, creatives, and heritage workers to apply. They will conduct contact sessions to equip applicants with the skills and knowledge needed. As we've been saying, we might know of opportunities where we need to apply, but we don't always know how to apply and how to apply successfully. And if anyone is interested, more information will be shared shortly on their website and social media challenges. So whoever is looking out for that information, continue to follow or do follow the NAC for more details. And then we have a hello, greetings, and thank you for the time you have invested in this platform. It is an eye-opener, comforter, and encouragement to keep doing what we do best for the arts industry, which is fantastic to hear. Mole Bohkeng asks, I'd like to inquire with Asanda and Zanele. I saw your profiles that you are curators and fashion editors. Do you source products from crafters in rural areas? So Asanda, can I hand that question over to you?
Well, okay. Yes, I try my best to go to rural areas and to explore a lot of what is happening with crafters, especially when it comes to accessories for styling for shoots. But I also love going to rural areas and posting the content, not necessarily sourcing for a photo shoot, but uncovering an amazing shoemaker or looking at a woman making the most beautiful beaded headdresses and just sharing that on my Insta stories. I'm not saying it has the widest reach, and a lot of people might miss that information, and certainly it needs a bigger platform. But I do try personally to recommend certain people that come from various different sources and different areas. But I must say, I still need to explore the length and breadth of South Africa even more, because I'm mostly in rural Eastern Cape, but I definitely would love to explore more rural areas in our country. There's so much talent and so much extraordinary work to uncover and to showcase.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely have seen you sharing all of that. And I think also this is the opportunity that we've had during the pandemic, is that we might not necessarily be able, for those who can afford to travel internationally. So we are spending time doing more short lifts, and really discovering our country. So I think we're going to see a lot more awareness around more rural artisans. And also, I think a lot of designers, almost in a secondary way, a lot of designers are drawing inspiration from those artists anywhere and creating products from them. So there is a collaboration going as well when it comes to that. Then just another note about the NAC funding. The NAC funding cycle is currently open for the 21-22 cycle. So if you can take a look on the website, it was published on the 7th of August. Might have missed it because of the public holidays, long weekend. There's also quite a few call outs that focus on holistic sustainability social challenges that are not necessarily from the NAC, which would be great for a project such as yours, Me Nokwe. Okay. So there were no real questions from Facebook. There is a lady, I think I would like to put everyone in touch with some of the women who are responding here because they've shared their cell phone details and email addresses. There's been a lady about, she's got a beauty company, another one here who has a touring production company. But yeah, I think that's more a direct kind of connection to make. I'm not sure who this is, but thank you to the NAC, and thank you. The session was so worthwhile. So let me wrap up and say a huge thank you to our panelists, also to Her Royal Highness and to the NAC for putting this together. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights. And I think just to summarize, what I really picked up is that, social media and tech is such a great tool for advertising yourself. Use that as your billboard, so to say. A lot of opportunities come from that. And then, one thing also, I think as a freelancer, that you never know where your next paycheck is coming from. So it needs to be a juggling act of becoming more savvy with saving. I know it's hard for all of us when things aren't flowing in as much as they used to, but to really focus on that. And I think also maybe there's an opportunity for more archiving, as Asanda started with Black editors. So yeah, maybe someone in the audience can think of opportunities there for a new business. And just a huge thank you again to everyone for participating. And we'll be in touch soon. There are 2 more sessions with 2 fresh topics coming up next Wednesday and the following Wednesday, which will be advertised on NAC's social media and on their website. But looking forward to meeting you back here next Wednesday. Everyone have a fantastic afternoon, and thank you again to our panelists. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, bye.